All right, ManTFup family, big day here at the ManTFup Podcast. We've got a bona fide Hollywood star sitting in the hot seat, Mr. Isaac C. Singleton Jr. Welcome to the ManCave, sir.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm having a great time.
Well, we are glad to hear that. Now, before we go any further, I get yelled at because I never say this. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow YouTube, Facebook, everywhere you can listen to a podcast. That's Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Buzzsprout. The list goes on. But we just want to make sure that you get the best of the ManTFup podcast. Now, Lenny, you've been looking forward to today for a very long time. We've had Isaac on the board.
Yeah, he's been on the board.
On the board. Like, this was a set date. And I know yesterday or a few days ago, you came in and you were just talking about the IMDb list. Like,
yes.
The ridiculous body of work.
It's a crazy body of work, and I'm curious if you're kind of a nerdy gamer guy fan also, because I'm like superhero guy. I like that stuff.
I'm more the superhero fan lover there. I mean, I love doing the voiceovers for the games, but I have to be honest, I don't really play games very often. I just love going in and making up the characters that I get to play because I love making up the voices. I love that part.
They let you make up the voices?
Yes. So sometimes when I get hired, they'll come. Like, I've gone down to work on for Blizzard several times. I mean, I've done more than 40 voices for them alone for various characters in their games, and their guys will come and they say, "Okay, we got this creature. It looks like this." They'll show me a picture. They say, "What do you think that thing sounds like?" And I'll give them like 3 voices right then. They go, "Oh, that's what it sounds like." Then we go into the booth, we do the voice and that, and I'll come back out and do all the lines of that game, and then I'll come back out and they'll say, "Okay, we got 2 more. This is the other character. What do you think this thing sounds like?" And then I'll make up some more voices for that. They're like, "That's the voice. Okay, let's go do that." And then we go in there and do that, and same thing for the 3rd one.
This is not any indication that you have multiple personalities, is it?
No.
Okay.
The doctors told my parents back when I was young that I was safe to go back into society. I was safe for myself and others. So beware.
I love it.
So don't beware. I'm okay. Excuse me.
Oh. Well, now we've already met 2 people. We've already met 2.
I find the voice thing so fascinating because, I can occasionally, I tried and have done some voiceover stuff for my company.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like a wrestler voice, like,
You gonna
But
have a moment right now?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't carrying that must be a lot of practice and a lot of work and a lot of, to be able to get into a character and stay there throughout a whole read.
Yeah, it's fun. And also, there's a lot of games I've gone in and done the characters. They expand the game. So, like, "Okay, Isaac, we want you to do that character again. Here's a snippet of what you did last time." I'm like, "Okay." We listen to it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll lock that in," and just go from there and do the character again. That's it.
That's so wild. Now, for folks who are maybe not as familiar with your incredible body of work, why don't you just run down a few of the films that you've done, and then obviously, as Lenny pointed out, there's game voiceover work. There's been, I'm sure, commercials and things of that nature. So maybe just give our ManTFup family a little insight into what we're working with.
All right. Film-wise, the things you'll recognize me from, because I've done a lot of movies with prosthetic makeup on where you hopefully wouldn't recognize me because I didn't look like that. You hear my voice, but you don't see my face. But probably the first time somebody really saw me in something that was really big was probably in anger management. I was the air marshal in there playing with Adam Sandler. I was very thankful for that. I did a few other things after that. I did some stuff for Arliss, HBO.
Good show.
One of my biggest movies was probably Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
One of your biggest, yeah. I mean,
I
that's just
was the second
that old
man
thing.
in The Black Pearl, so, you might recognize him from that. It's so funny when people say, "Didn't you smack that woman?" And yeah, that was part of the script, and I didn't smack her in real life. Don't worry, she's okay.
He beats women.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah,
That's the whole purpose of ManTFup.
I only had 2 emotions in that movie: angry and annoyed. Pretty much, I was in that whole movie, angry or annoyed, either way. So yeah.
So they really didn't ask you to tap into your acting abilities too much.
You still had to portray the character because I could have just been like, "Oh, hey, Captain," all smiley all day. No, that's not who I was going to be.
Yeah, you were the bad guy. You were.
Well, see, that's all a matter of perspective also.
Yeah.
When you've got an objective and you've got a goal and you got to get that goal any way you can, are you really the bad guy or you just kind of go for what you want to do?
It's your job.
Or were you great? Or were you the great guy if you actually accomplished it, right?
Yeah, we went and got the gold back, so we wouldn't be skeletons in the middle of the moonlight.
Who wants that? You want to be able to
that.
enjoy your dinner.
Yeah.
That was like the worst part in that movie. Not being able to eat nothing.
Like
For
Barbosa
eternity?
said, he wanted to eat a bushel of apples when he got back to people. You know, so yeah.
Barbosa was a filthy old man in that movie. Filthy. Filthy, 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 and you know it.
Well, we didn't get to bathe very often. That's all. That's all that was. I mean, I've done stuff since then too, and one of my favorite things is to be hired by Marvel to do the voice of Thanos for all their cartoons and video games, which I love doing that. Josh Brolin pays for the movies. I do it for everything else. Pretty much, I'm very thankful to get that too. But I've worked for Disney a lot in my career too, so that's wonderful. You know, Pirates was a Disney movie.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Anytime you can put Disney on your resume, probably pretty impressive, right?
Oh, very impressive. Well, Disney now owns everything, I think. They own Star Wars and they own Marvel, so there's not much else.
I can feel you.
At least I don't think there's much
They
else.
also own, and they own ESPN.
They're going to buy Matrix soon.
They're going to buy the Matrix? Do you know something that we don't know,
No,
Lenny?
it just, you know, if you just follow along their little path.
Well, really, we are in the matrix of Disney.
Yeah.
Which pill do you want to take?
No pills, please. No. We need no more Matrix action in 2021, let me tell you. It's surreal enough as it is. No, I'm looking at Lenny, and I already feel this conversation turning for the worst. Let me ask you a question. You were telling me earlier that acting was not your necessary initial career path. Like when you were a kid, you weren't sitting there going, I want to be in the movies.
No, that was not what I was
What
thinking.
did you wanted to do in the 8th grade?
Well, finally settled on, after all the things I wanted to do. Well, see, you got to understand the beginning of the story because you
Okay.
gotta understand, it was like, do you remember when you were 4
Yes.
and adults come over and pat you on the head and say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Marine biologist.
When you were 4.
When I was 4.
When I was 4, I wanted to be a mad scientist, okay? Now, this is all correlate when it comes around to the end of the story. But okay, so like, but you know how when we think, we don't think in letters and numbers, we think in pictures. Every time somebody asked me what I was going to do when I grew up, I always got the same exact picture. There was a bunch of people sitting in a room. The room was kind of dark. They had this blue light shining on them, and they were looking at the light with interest. And I could see where they were sitting, the clothes they were wearing, everything like that. But that, you know, the visions, they run through your head like a film reel. So that vision disappeared, and other things popped in my head, and I say mad scientist. As I got older, I wanted to be a football player. And then I wanted to be an eye doctor like my dad. And then 8th grade, I settled on to be a commodities broker.
A commodities broker.
But I kept that goal to my sophomore year of college. But no matter what age I was at, every time I was asked what I was going to do, I saw the exact picture of those people again, and I answered the question. So now flash forward my sophomore year of college. I'm in Florida A&M University.
Go Rattler.
I'm an economics major. And I mean, I knew the ticker tape by heart back then. It was in fractions back then. Now they do decimal points. I knew. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be in Chicago at the commodities market. But my sophomore year of college, I decided to take a theater course for fun. Because I've been in public speaking since 9th grade.
Okay.
You know, just because I just don't mind getting in front of people and talking. And I'm taking a theater course, and the theater director at my university asked me to audition for one of the plays. And I got the lead in the play.
And you had never really been in theater before.
Well, I'd done acting, like, you know, like a little play in 8th grade, and things like that.
Like school
but,
stuff
But I
or
was
whatever.
not like, oh, this is what I'm going to do.
That's
I
neat.
liked doing it. But
Yeah.
It wasn't like that's my career choice. But anyway, I enjoyed it. It just wasn't, I wanted to be a commodities broker. So anyway, he asked me, I got the lead. And theater major's like, man, Isaac, you're not bad. You ought to think about doing this for a living. And I'm like, that sounds nice. I like it a lot, but I want to be a commodities broker. Anyway, that semester, there was a major recorrection in the stock market, and a lot of other markets kind of crashed down a little bit. And I started evaluating, well, why do you want to be a broker? And the pros list was short. You can make a lot of money. The cons list was had to be up at 4:30 in the morning, checking the markets, constantly on the markets, trying to build a clientele list, trying to make sure I don't lose people's money. All these different things I knew there was going to be
That
kind of
list got
stressful.
real long, real fast.
Yeah, so I started praying to God about it because I am a Christian man. I believe in God wholly, and I think He tells you stories. He's given me a lot of signs that I've seen now that I didn't realize later. Anyway, so I'm praying to God about it, and I decided I'm going to go see a dollar movie because I could afford a dollar theater in college, you know, like a dollar. So I walk across my campus, across Florida State's campus, to get to the dollar theater in town. I'm sitting there, and the movie starts, and all of a sudden a voice inside of my head said, Isaac, turn around. And when I turned around, I saw the exact people I've been seeing since I was 4 years old.
Shut up.
Where they were sitting, the clothes they were wearing, that blue light shining on their faces with the light reflecting off the movie screen onto them. They were looking at the light with interest. So that's what they were looking at the movie screen. That's why I'm looking at them, not looking at the movie. So I said, okay, God, I guess I'm going to be an actor, because I started praying to God about being an actor. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be an actor. So now on the way home, back to my campus, I'm thinking, well, shoot, I'm in Tallahassee. There's no film industry here.
What are you talking about? That is like the biggest market on the planet for film.
It is? Dang.
Yeah. Girls Gone Wild, maybe.
I'm really hot.
Probably, Lenny, yes.
So anyway, I get home, and I turn the TV on, and the 11 o'clock news was coming on just as I turned the TV on. Because I'm praying to God. I'm like, God, on the way home, I'm like, God, well, I want to be in film and TV, but I'm in Tallahassee. There's nothing going on here. And I also want to finish college. I walk home. I turn the TV on. The first thing the newscaster says is 11 o'clock news is coming on. It says, Hollywood has come to Florida. Universal Studios and MGM Studios are now doing major film and television production in Orlando, Florida. I'm like, I'd like to get to Orlando then. But I don't know any universities in Orlando. Next thing you know, I found out about UCF. I transferred to UCF. All of my credits transferred. I finished with a communications degree. And then I started pursuing the film industry and television industry there. I got hired at both Disney and Universal to do their stunt shows. I learned a lot about stage combat and all that kind of stuff there. And I made a living as an actor in Florida and eventually moved to California and started pursuing my goals out there. And it's funny because even when I got to California, I had no agent. Nobody knew me. I had done a movie with a woman here in California. Here in L.A. She said, when you get to L.A., I'll submit you on the breakdowns and maybe you'll get work that way. I'm like, okay, sure. 2 months later, on my birthday, I was on the X-Files. It's my first job.
That's great. Lenny, God sent me no visions of you. No visions of you. So I don't know how this ended up happening. None.
Luke.
None.
Maybe the messages came from somewhere else.
Never. Yes, it's called Instagram. Definitely.
I shortened that story down because I know you don't have 3 hours to hear the whole thing. But yeah, that's how it happened. It was a message from God. There was other messages I saw, like I'd go back to Germany and visit my parents. I remember my parents gave me the trip to Amsterdam for my birthday. And
interesting trip.
It was great. It was a good time. A lot of nice museums and everything.
Yeah. That's nothing else.
Yeah.
I heard there's a whole section of museums.
There is.
They're red.
They keep the art. They keep the art right in the window.
They're red museums too. At that.
I kind of wandered around some place that kind of remember that. I don't know.
Both of you are a mess. So you went back to Germany.
Yeah, I would go back to Germany. I remember my mark hasn't been made in Hollywood at all. It still hasn't made, in my opinion. I'm still trying to get things going. I love what I do, but anyway, this guy on the bus was like, "So you're going to be an actor now?" He said, "Yes." We said, "What kind of movies are you going to do?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't even know if they've been written yet. I don't know what movies I'm going to do." But when he asked me that question, I got this weird vision in my mind once again. This time, the vision was a gorilla sitting and looking at itself in the mirror, and I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Anyway, so that vision disappeared. Whatever. Anyway. Moved to L.A. and 2 years after I got to Los Angeles, one of the biggest movies I got in was Planet of the Apes. And I played 4 gorillas in that movie. And I remember my makeup artist was doing my makeup, and I remember looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, oh, that's the vision I saw in Amsterdam of the gorilla looking at itself in the mirror. That was me looking in the mirror because I'm in full prosthetic makeup as a gorilla in that movie. So that's what happened. So
that is, I have chills.
That's
wild.
That's pretty crazy.
If you're just listening to this, I bet you somebody's thinking, get the out of here, bro. But if you can see the conviction with which Isaac is telling this story,
Yeah, seriously. I got to Los Angeles, no agent, whatever. I knew I was going to get in the film industry. That's what my goal was. And I remember even meeting with agents, and they would say, well, your voice, it's so deep, and you're so big. I don't know what we would do with you. I'm like...
Figure it out.
To me, that was like, okay, but that lets me know that you're not the agent for me, because if you don't know what you can do with a guy like me in the film industry, then you're not going to be able to help me out. So why would I want to sign with you? Thank you for not signing me. That's what I'm saying in my head. I'm not saying that to them face to face, but it's just so funny how and I was getting work without agents. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just go get work without you. And that's what I was doing.
Some people would call that obviously blind faith, right? Just seeing something in your head and being willing to jump at it. But I feel like that takes humongous cojones. That's truly manning TF up. I'm trying to be very respectful. For those of you listening to our podcast, Isaac does not curse. And
y'all can curse all you want.
I know
It doesn't bother me at all.
bad. I'm
But
like
that's-
I curse like a like if it wasn't a Disney movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, I would have been perfect as one of Barbossa's crewmates because like in a non-Disney movie, they would have been cursing up a storm, and I curse like a pirate. I'm convinced of that. I really do, but I'm like really trying to not. So. What?
I don't curse much.
You're such a liar. Anyway, that sounds like manning the fuck up, Isaac. Like just literally saying, you know what? I've had this idea in my mind since I'm in 8th grade about what I'm going to do. I mean, that's a good 6 years under your belt of just being focused. You went to school for it, and then all of a sudden, kind of on a whim, you deciding, nope, that's not for me anymore, and this is what I'm going to do, and going full steam ahead with it.
Yes. Well, when you get the signs, that's what you do. That's what I do, at least. So, yeah.
That's a lot of conviction to do that. It's, it's strong beliefs. That's very, very cool.
Lenny, do you get conviction? What have you ever been that convicted about?
That's a good question. I never stop, Kimmy. You know me. I never stop. And it doesn't matter what life throws at me. The next morning, I get out of bed and I get started again. Just like, Pinky in the Brain. What are we going to do today, Lenny?
Take over the world.
That's it. So, and that's me. So my conviction is not necessarily specific to one thing, but it's that, bettering myself. That's every day I get up, I got to go to work, take care of my kids, take care of my family, better myself, move forward.
Forward momentum.
Always
Here
forward.
for it. Now, Isaac, you've obviously been in the industry for over 2 decades at this point.
Yes.
And a lot of things have changed.
Yes,
right?
I have.
I mean, a lot of things have changed just in the world as a whole, right? And the whole point of the ManTFup podcast is to talk about some of, the things that are changing that maybe we wish weren't changing, or maybe we think shouldn't be changing, kind of, I don't want to say controversial topics, but just the things that make you go, what is happening?
If you want to say it, you can go ahead and say it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily feel it that time.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel it's a lot of, there's not a lot of thought going into the change. We've talked about a lot of things on this podcast about, sitting Indian style and things that I saw when I was growing up. We used to have cartoons that showed you how the government worked and what a bill was, and all of these.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah, I mean, we had all that, and we fed our kids that, and we went to PE and all these things, and these things are all changing so rapidly, and it's. I think everybody deserves a voice, but I don't think everybody should listen to everybody's voice and change the world because of it. I think it has to be a collective, and I think things need to slow down and get a little thought. That's all. Maybe let's think how we're going to do this. Let's think how we're going to say this. Let's think of the ramifications 20 years down the road, which that's what nobody ever thinks about.
Well, I think Hollywood kind of, I don't want to say it started it because it's been happening for a long time, but like the Me Too movement, right, in Hollywood has changed a lot. And it was like a sweeping kind of just beast of its own, right? Like when it took hold, it took hold. As a person who's been in it for a long time, like what are some of the things that you've seen change that maybe, I don't want to say shouldn't, but that we should be putting a little bit more thought into before just maybe jumping and acting?
Okay, well, obviously, you talked about the Me Too movement, then some things that, then you ask the question of changes that don't make sense, because I do think that it makes sense to definitely protect people from being
from predators.
Yeah,
of course.
And that's something that's neat. I've also seen change because like our contracts now in films, it talks about
how to handle yourself.
Don't do this kind of stuff. Treat people with respect and dignity, and it's in our contracts now where you sign it. You're like, hey, yeah, I won't. It's almost like it's not etiquette, but it's just certain ways you always like that. Just to me, that just made sense because of how my parents raised me. I would never do this.
Yeah.
But people have to actually sign a contract saying they won't, because there's some people that would do that, and they think it's fine because they got
power or status.
So,
Or what was something that blew your mind when you got to Hollywood? Then from that angle, we can look at it as a God-fearing Christian man who has visions. You know what I'm saying? When you got there, what blew, like what is something that happened? Maybe you don't get into specifics, but like that just had you going, what did I just get myself into?
You know what? There was no situation I got into when I got to California that I wasn't surprised by.
Got you.
Because I'd already lived on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. I'd seen a lot of different things. I'd seen a lot of different cultures, the way people act, and there's just nothing that surprises me living both in the South and now in the West. And there's just people treat each other certain ways just because all over the world. And you just got to find your right kind of tribe that you know that they're not the kind of people you want to hang out with. You might have to work with them sometimes, but you don't have to hang out with them. So those aren't the kind of people that I surround
that you
myself
gravitate
with.
towards, or that
But I don't have anything negative to say about anything. Because a lot of people ask me, who was the worst actor or who was the worst person on set? I'm like, I always think about the positive stuff. I'm not thinking about what might have happened on this movie or that movie with that one actor who didn't really matter as far as my life was concerned. So I don't really want to bring them up. And I definitely want to say their name, because why would I want to disparage them? I don't want to disparage them. That they might have just been having a bad week, or they might have been, I don't know. So I can't say anything negative about it.
Well, and I feel like that's a part of the problem, though. Like with Hollywood right now, like you have all of these things. You have fame that comes with that. You have the fishbowl effect, right? Like once you're in movies, once people know who you are, the eyes that are on you change a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And that, I think, sometimes can add a level of stress to just everyday life. Like if you know that there's going to be paparazzi waiting outside of not like Trader Joe's when you leave, or whatever the case may be, like I feel like that can add a level of anxiety to your life that maybe wouldn't exist without that. But it's also something that you sign up for when you choose this as a career path.
Well, no one's out there waiting for me. No one's there's no paparazzi waiting outside my house or waiting outside some Starbucks. I don't really go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
But there are no ones out there waiting for me. I remember I was walking down Melrose one time, and there's these two guys and a girl that had cameras, and they were backing up, and they were filming what I thought was me. And I'm like, I know they're not filming me, because I mean I've done a few things, but no one's filming me like the way they were fervently filming. And I turned around, and Bruce Willis was walking behind me. I'm like, oh. Let me move out the shot there so you can get a better shot of him. But yeah, so no one's trying to dig in my garbage, which is fine. And I know, and people want to know about stars that they really feel connected to because they love the movie they did or whatever, I remember I go to signing events still for Pirates, which is great. I remember this girl broke down crying. I mean, she was on her hands and knees crying when I signed an autograph for her. But it wasn't because of me. It was because I had worked with Johnny Depp, her favorite actor, which is, great.
But you were a little connection to him.
She was so excited. I mean, she liked my work too, but she's like, "Oh my God, you worked with Johnny Depp! Oh my God, he's my favorite!" And she was actually crying. I mean, I'm like, "Wow, get up, enjoy the rest of the day, have a good time." It's just funny to see that. People have certain reactions, but. Yeah, but nothing really surprised me once I got out there, because my parents raised me to be a kind of my own man. I never was the kind of guy that succumbed to any kind of peer pressure, even in high school or junior high. I just was raised by some wonderful people who really know how to make a man. They built a man. They did that for me, my brother, and my sister. They know how to raise a child up to be a great person in society.
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah.
They built a man, right? Like they knew how to build.
That's really important. Do you have any friends that you hang out with that get bombarded?
Like a Bruce Willis would?
Yeah.
No, I've been in circles with these people, and we're friendly and all that kind of stuff. But it's not like we're calling each other and saying, "Hey, come hang out over here with me tonight." We'll see each other, or maybe even run into each other in a location. But it's not like I'm partying with them all the time. I have my core group of friends right now. Most of them aren't even actors. One of them is my best friend. Is in medical sales, and we we're just mellow, man. We love to watch football. When football season is going on, go hang out at the different places where they got nice big sports bar or whatever, and we just have fun. Normal American fun.
I love that. What was I gonna say? I think people just have a perception of celebrities, right? And everybody wants to think that every celebrity is like a Jennifer Aniston, where their squad is, Courtney Cox and Brad Pitt, and that like every time, you go to their house, you're going to run into Barbara Streisand and Jay Leno or whoever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think that that's actually a rarity.
It really is. I mean,
Right?
those people probably hang out with each other, which is great because they're good friends. They work together for a while. I mean, look at George Clooney and those guys. I mean, they work together so much that, you hire your friends sometimes when you're working in film because they can do the job. Plus, you like working with them.
Yes.
That's what it is. You get your own squad. You start working with these people on a regular basis. I mean, you see certain directors, they hire the same actors over and over again because they like them.
Yep. And that, I'm sure, has something to do with work ethic, too. Like, if you know that somebody's going to deliver. But also, it's important. I would imagine. So, talking about Hollywood imperceptions, like, you don't just show up. When you did Planet of the Apes, how long were you in makeup for?
It was a 4-hour makeup every single day. So when we were on location, we were on location. My call time to get to the bus. This isn't even before I got in the chair. Just to get to the bus to take me out to the location where my makeup's going to be made. Some of my call times are 3:30 in the morning, and then 4-hour makeup. We shoot all day long. Then they go and take the makeup off me. By the time we got back to the hotel, it would be dark again. I mean, that's just
16, 17-hour days.
And it was great. But, that was a nice 8-month-long movie. I loved it. And that's what I signed up for. And I loved it. I mean, it didn't feel like, oh, my God, 18 hours, 17 hours. It was like, this is what I signed up for. I get to play this character. I'm excited about these characters. I played 4 characters in that movie. 4 different gorillas in that movie. I did change it a little bit. They wanted a deeper voice. But, I just changed it up a little bit. But, there's one scene where I get killed by the Thade character. The screen wipes. It's me and that same actor playing different characters again.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But that saved probably Sony more than $500,000 in makeup costs alone because those prosthetic pieces had to be run off for each individual actor, and each individual actor had to have their own face cast. So my pieces of prosthetic wouldn't fit that guy next to me. So if you play 4 characters, that's 3 other characters that didn't have to mold their face, spend all that money gritting off the latex pieces just to put it on them. So that saved them a lot, which was great for me because I got to play all these characters. And no one's going to be like, wait a minute, wasn't that the same guy that just was in that last scene over there?
That gorilla voice sounds very similar. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I guess I asked that question, or I want to point that out because I think similar to professional athletes or anyone who makes a lot of money to do something that the general public views as fun, right? Or like an incredible opportunity, there's judgment that comes with that. Not understanding how much actual work and time and effort and energy goes into how many regular everyday Joes are working for 17 and 18 hours a day?
Yeah, and I mean
7 days, you know what I mean, for an 8 month period of time. Like, that's ridiculous, and that's
Successful ones. That's who.
There's also the thing, they see the finished product. They see the finished product and it looks great because the color correction's done there, the editor's gone and done, the music's been played in there. They don't see what we're doing every single day. They don't see the grueling hours. There were sandstorms out in the desert when we were shooting it. We were in it was freezing temperatures. Sometimes we were shooting out in Lake Peril, Arizona. I mean, it was cold. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that goes on that happens to your body while you're doing this stuff. I mean, putting on the weight, losing the weight, being able to carry the costume around, all these different things. They don't see all that. They just hear, they see the final product. Oh, that looked like that was fun.
Yeah.
We did that in a week. No, we didn't. I was telling some people about a scene in Pirates where we were shooting in the room where there's a gold mound and all that kind of. Barbossa's talking about, for years we toiled, and all that kind of stuff about getting all the gold together. That scene is 5 minutes, 6 minutes on the screen. We were in that cave shooting that scene for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. That scene.
And there's water. There was water.
We were standing. Some of us were standing in water. Some of us weren't. I mean, it's like.
Oh, you had a pretty heavy makeup on that too. That had to take a few hours to get.
Yeah, but it was a 3-hour makeup. But what it was, I mean, at least I was finally saying, finally someone wants to see my face, because it had been prosthetics all before. Finally, I wanted someone to see my face. It was great, but. Yeah,
I was nervous your teeth were really like that.
You know, these teeth are real. I've never had a single cavity. I have my wisdom teeth too. So
Okay, now
Wow.
you're just bragging. Go away. He doesn't swear. He's never had a cavity. We get it. Your parents did a great job, Isaac. We get it.
You brushed your teeth. You
Oh
flossed. I
my
got.
what's this
goodness.
brushing your teeth?
Don't start that. Somebody will snip that
Yeah.
clip, and the next thing that'll be the newest TikTok trend.
That no one's
You
brushing
know,
your teeth.
no, don't brush your teeth, and you can have beautiful teeth. Sorry, our
Oh, okay.
director just you know.
You got excited, Kimmy?
I did. I hit my.
Or you smack your microphone and
All I talk with my hands. You
6,
can't
7
tell.
times per episode.
So when the microphone is, it was different when I was on the radio. I could hold the microphone when I talked, so I would kind of have
I
one
see.
hand going, and I'd be holding the microphone. These are different, so
I
it
see.
doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, to
Another
answer
4 or
your
5
question,
episodes will have a symphony of that.
You know,
Doing, doing, doing,
No,
doing,
right.
doing.
Set that up and make clips out of
You
it,
know what I'm saying?
and just have constant her just smacking the microphone.
Yep, that and then Lenny loves. There's one clip of me saying I agree with you 2,000%, and he thinks that should be edited into every montage.
Everything I say, Isaac.
Everything it should be. I agree with you 2,000%. So yes, we can do that. The smacking of the microphone. I have to ask you though, when we talk about the Hollywood and we talk about how you seem to enjoy your low key friends and your low key life.
Yeah.
Do you ever get worried that should you get the stardom that comes with a Johnny Depp or a Bruce Willis about everything that comes with that? Is that why you've leaned more towards the voiceover stuff and the kind of off camera stuff?
I really love doing the on camera. I really love it. But I also know that I've been hired to do the voiceovers because I know that I can do those and it's really a lot of fun. Plus, but I love being on film more than I really do. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy doing the voiceovers immensely. It's spectacular to get to make up a character and voices. But I really love being on film sets because there's a whole collaboration there with a bunch of different people. I mean, you've got the grips, you've got the cameraman, the DP, you've got the lighting guys, you've got everybody there that is the Harold putting it all together. And then you got the makeup people, the wardrobe. Don't forget about craft services. You know what I mean? And so, when I'm on a film set or a television set, I feel like I'm home because I've got a place I can go lay down if I need to, a place I can go eat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can just collaborate with these people and have a good time talking. And if not, I just go hang out in my room by myself because I'm a solitary man also. So, it's just great. But when I do a voiceover, especially now, I walk in, it's just the engineer, me. I walk into the studio by myself. He closes the door, he goes to the other side, and then I get my headphones on, and they're talking to me from some other state or even country. And then we do the session there. I see the words right there in front of me. I do the character, I do the voice, they show me a picture of something, and I'll see it, and we'll do that. And that's how it is now.
But the beauty of VO work is it's pandemic proof.
Yes.
That's true.
But
Are you
You think-
ready to get back on sets? I'm sorry.
I
That's
am.
okay.
I've been on the set since then.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so
do you think your size has hindered your career at all in Hollywood? Because I know most actors are on the smaller side.
I talked about trying to be positive all the time a little while ago. So whenever I think about it, I don't think about, oh, I'm too big or that hindered me from getting that role or whatever. I don't think about it. I just think, okay, that role wasn't for me. And sometimes it just wasn't for me. And you can't force a square peg into a circle. You just can't do it. So if I don't fit it, okay, they didn't hire me for that one. And I can't let it dwell and fester in my mind about why I didn't get it because that'll just tear you apart as a human being. It'll make you not want to be in the industry because you'll constantly be negative all the time, and it's just going to tear your heart out. You got to think positive because there's going to be another role coming down the road for me. Yeah, when I first got out there, I remember like the agent, when I finally got an agent, he'd call and say, oh, hey, they liked you a lot. You were just too big compared to their lead. And they don't want their lead to look like a little guy. I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
I like being 6'5", and I don't. But there's roles that I've hired because I was this size too, and I had this voice also. So there's another role coming down the road, and that's how I look at it.
Yep.
Is there anything that you will bitch about, Isaac?
Let me think.
Have you done stage?
I've done stage too. That's what I mean. I did stage in college. Right? That's when I did that stage play.
I see you as like a Shakespeare role,
Right.
What do you
like
mean, like
this
Othello?
powerful, this powerful.
Shakespearean role that looks like me.
No, just a powerful role on stage, because stage is not as critical to size as film.
The beauty of it too with the theater is they've started remaking a lot of or recasting. I saw Cat on a Hot Tin Roof on Broadway.
Okay.
But I saw it with James Earl Jones and Terrence Howard and Felicia Rashad. Like I saw it with an incredible cast of just phenomenal Black actors and, actresses. And it was so cool because it was like an entirely new audience was going to see this particular play because now there was, they were seeing themselves on the stage. And that's the beauty of the theater is that there's these classic pieces that are just waiting, I think, to be recreated for a modern theater audience, right? Like to some degree, if we can just get Broadway to stay open because Jesus, it's crazy.
Well,
They're going to have to move it.
It's wild.
move it.
The West End is closing. It's just, it's nuts. But like, that's the beauty of theater. I feel like they don't necessarily have the same restrictions. Like they'll let, I don't want to say anybody play anything, but I feel like on the theater, you have to be able to deliver. It's a different level.
Yeah, it's
So
more based on your acting than
your ability, your
than
true
your
ability, as
And your
opposed
ability to reach the back audience, the back
Yes.
row. You got it for them.
facts. Well, it doesn't seem like you'd have a problem doing that.
Well, I learned how to use my body and voice to make my voice project and not use my throat. A lot of people try to use their throat. So use your throat. Yeah, your voice is coming through your throat, but it's not supposed to be coming underneath here
Can you sing?
to myself in the shower.
No, I was
in
like,
the car.
do you do like the fake singing? You like, there's just usually people who can do voices, can like pretend to be a performer.
What do you want them to do, like a Britney Spears or something?
No. Give me Barry White.
It's so funny because when I
He's
think
laughing. I'll take it.
no, when I think of Barry White, I just keep thinking about. There's this one song that's like, "Take your panties off." And I'm like, I keep hearing that song. I'm like, Barry, come on.
Sabina,
now.
did you get that by any chance? Damn it. Okay, so I guess it's a no on the musical theater. Is that
Well,
not?
when I did a summer program at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts when I first got to LA, just to just see what the kind of training they were doing there, and I had to sing "Old Man River" there.
Okay.
So that's what I had to sing. But I don't consider myself a singer. I use my voice for making the mood of a story or bringing a character to life. That's what I like. But I sang it, and I think I did a fairly good job. But I just,
I was going to say, I mean, if that's the song that they tasked you with.
But
bring back the old Paul.
listen, we're
Paul
sitting here
Rose.
with this enormous giant of a man with this super deep voice. Every woman's going crazy. I want to.
Where are these women?
I want to hear.
Excuse me, you didn't have that vision?
I'm trying to.
They're there. Just
wait.
close your eyes.
You needed to walk to the other side of the hotel.
So
Was
what
that
song do you
what
want
that
to hear?
screaming was about? I just saw some girls running at me, but I was like, "Oh, is Bruce Willis behind me?" And I just kept walking to my hotel room. Okay.
No, I can you do a voice for us that would totally not be if my eyes were closed,
You wouldn't pick
I
up
would
your eyes.
I wouldn't pick him as my Isaac.
Okay. Let me think. Close your eyes.
My eyes are closed.
Hello, can I speak to Lenny, please? Is Lenny there? Tell him at least she's on the phone for him. Lenny, I know that's you. Come on. Answer the phone.
Lenny, answer the phone, please.
Hello.
Hello?
Is this about my porn subscription again?
This call is being recorded, sir.
That's okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you
That's
asked
classic.
the man who literally started off by saying I'm a Christian about your porn subscription, though.
But I clearly told him I'm not.
See? Okay. Well, so long as
Before
you guys
this,
had that
you know.
conversation before, that's good.
He did lay out a disclaimer that he's fine with.
Right. I'm very fine with all kinds of stuff. Yes.
Okay, so on the ManTFup Podcast, again, we love to talk about things like cancel culture and just, craziness. Before we started today's podcast, we were talking about a new viral clip on TikTok where apparently children in Iowa are identifying now as dogs and cats, and their parents would like the school board to implement litter boxes in the bathrooms. Like, just wild. Do you have anything that comes to mind? Like, when somebody says cancel culture, like, what comes to mind? Is there something that's been canceled that you don't think deserved to be canceled? Like, how should we be approaching this?
All right, I can't think of anything specific that has been canceled. I just think it's weird how sometimes people want one voice seems like it drowns out the throngs of many voices, and that one voice isn't making sense. But because that one voice says, I've got the right to say this stuff, that everybody else is like, okay, he's got his rights to say it, so okay. And I'm like, but that's craziness. Come on, guy. Why are you going to try to put a litter box in the bathroom? They've been potty trained already. They know how to use a toilet. Let them use a litter box at home. Why are you going to spend more money on litter at a school? And who's using the litter box? Who's going to empty it? Come on now.
That's what because teachers, right? The teachers unions are already calling
in
an emergency meeting. Like, listen, this is not in it. We need hazard pay. Like, this is a whole thing.
Even if there's a janitor's unit, I mean, like, even the janitor's like, no, that's not what I'm not here to end. Yeah. I got a cat at home. I can't stand it. My wife wanted it. She makes me to take the garbage out, and she's got the litter in there sometimes. I'm not doing it at work too.
Mm-hmm. Facts. I'll unclog a toilet.
Yeah.
But I'm not dealing with your litter box issues. But Lenny, I think he touched on something that I know you feel very strongly, very similarly.
Yeah, I do. We talked briefly in the truck last night, and everyone in this country was brought up differently.
Definitely.
Let's just forget about our parents. A lot of us were taught to be respectful and kind to others and all of that good stuff. But then we had outside influences in our life, TV, radio, whatever it may be, that we were brought up on. So now it's like every day, literally, there is a new topic that needs to be changed or fixed, and it's not the masses and it's not large groups of people who are making these decisions. It's small groups of people, and the large groups are going, yeah, we can do that. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is you have kids who want to be kitties and have litter boxes in bathrooms.
So, Lenny, I swear you have actually made that analogy on this podcast in the past, and we'll have to go back through the archives because I think
it was more like donkeys.
Like, my response was, Lenny, like, you're stop being extra. I'm sure I was like that's so ridiculous. And the fact that, like I said, I don't know if it's satire or not, but even if it is, clearly people are feeling like you and Isaac are feeling like if we continue to give into every little whim of every person, that we're eventually going to get to a place where our children are requesting litter boxes because they now identify as cats.
It's human nature.
Just when they push the envelope, just to see how far.
When they first discovered fire, they wanted more of it. Mm-hmm. They wanted it to be bigger, so it could heat more people, so they could figure out how to cook. It's human nature to take as much as you can, for the most part. Mm-hmm. The saying's been around for thousands of years. You give them an inch, you'll take a mile, and that's what's going on. And those miles are clocking really quick right now, really quick. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about the LGBT community. We've talked about all that stuff. And yes, they deserve respect. They deserve, they're people. Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Basic human rights, equality, all that good stuff.
But where do you draw the line? Because somebody is going to take what they're trying to build and work hard to do and exploit it. And it's going to set them back farther than...
Well, that I think started to happen in the conversation we had a few weeks ago with the whole, pedophiles deserve respect and dignity too.
Well, why would...
That came from a professor who wrote a book on it.
Okay, but see, that's against the law.
I clearly get it.
So why would someone who's an actual lawbreaker all of a sudden say, well, even though I'm doing this reprehensible things, you should respect me for that?
That was her argument.
Well, her argument was because you can't control who you love.
Yes, you... Okay. All right. Well, I'm not that professor, but
it's just they're taking it to the extreme, and people will constantly take it and run with it. And I there are a lot of laws on the books in the United States that could be changed and should be changed. There's a lot of laws on the books in different states that you don't even realize are there and haven't been enforced for 150 years, but they're still sitting on those books. The energy needs to go there, not to unstigmatizing pedophiles or putting kitty litter in bathrooms. It needs to go to the core problems, which are still sitting on law books in cities and states all around this country.
For sure.
And that's, that's where I think the energy should be, not on, you said something that hurt my feelings. Okay, I feel you. Don't listen to me ever again. You don't have to. It's your freedom, It's just, we went over we had an ex-Dolphin player in here a couple weeks ago, and, we said, look, you can say whatever you want. Freedom of speech, great. But if you say something to the wrong person, you're going to get a backhand. You're going to get smacked. And I totally believe in that. If you don't respect people, they should be able to knock the shit out of you. But, so it goes to the same thing. If you're going to bring your feelings into words, then I'm going to bring my fist into, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. You're asking for that same amount of respect to be put on an assault that you are on a word. So if you're going to ask for that, then great. If I call you that, smack me. Or if you call me something, I'm going to smack you. But it's the same.
Yeah.
It's now the same. They carry the same weight. So if that's what people want, then but I don't think that's what people want.
No, I don't, because I think there's some people who would get punched a whole lot.
Yeah, you got that right.
Facts.
And there's certain people you don't want to get punched in the face by.
You being one of them. I would not want a right hook from Isaac C. Singleton Jr.
I wouldn't even want a jab, okay?
I don't even want a really hard bump, to be honest with you. If I don't see it coming, wouldn't stand next to you on the subway, Isaac, just for fear that if it stopped too quickly and you you lost your footing, we're all going down. I'm just like, you're a big guy. But I do feel like Hollywood, and I hate to bring it back to that, Hollywood gets the brunt of it in a lot of ways. Like, we've seen recently all of these BuzzFeed articles coming out about movies that should be canceled, right? Lenny and I have discussed this. Like, they came hard for Grease, and I was like, listen, stop it.
So they're like saying that Grease shouldn't be shown anymore?
Because
Goonies.
but let me give you the reason why. Because there wasn't enough representation, because they were clearly homophobic, because the beginning song Summer Lovin' was clearly about sexual assault. The list goes on. And I had a co-host who said to me one time, he said, the thing that frustrates me the most is that we're putting 2021 standards on a 79 movie, or even a guy like Kevin Hart, and we're not going to get into Kevin, but when you get penalized for a tweet that you sent out in 2005 and it's 2019, the world has evolved a lot in 14 years. Is it really fair to hold somebody to their 2005 tweet in 2019? Now, if he tweeted it in 2019, different situation. But what was I don't want to say what was allowed, but I'm happy for evolution. To your point, Me Too is important. We need to put a foot down when it comes to predators in every industry, right? It's not okay. It's not okay to wield your power in a malicious, manner that way. But on the flip side of it, you have people now, I'm sure there's been a change in Hollywood where people are just fearful. There's, that leads way to fear. Yeah. And that's not a good place to be operating from either.
Weinstein, Epstein,
Predators.
clearly abusing and being predators. A man being a man next to a woman, we're clearly different. We clearly think differently. I'm sorry if I offended you. One of my favorite canceled things was Sharon Stone came out about, the scene in the movie where she crossed her legs in Basic Instinct. She's like, oh, that's not how it was supposed to be. I'm like, are you out of your mind? How come 30 years later, after your whole career got built off that one scene, are you going to say that you were forced to do it? You know,
I haven't heard this story.
But
no,
what's-
it just recently came
But
out.
what's sad to me, though, is even about that is that there was a time when that was a badass move by Sharon Stone. Like
I still think it's a badass
she-
move. You
she-
do that in an interview with me, you're hired.
I didn't. Just for the record, everybody, I did not do that on my interview with Lenny. Let me be very clear about that. But no, but I feel like that was something that
The
people.
jokester side of me said, "Why are you doing that right now?"
If you're watching the YouTube video, you see exactly what's happening right now. But no, I feel like there was a time where people took that as, her being assertive, her owning her femininity, her owning her power. You know what I'm saying? And so then we've gone from that now in 2021 to it being rebuffed. So it's kind of like even for feminists, we have to make up our minds. And so that's kind of like one of those things where it's like we're almost we're going in a circle. You know what I mean? So it's like what's seemed as cool or avant-garde or groundbreaking then becomes a thing that is your biggest detractor. And it's weird because it's like, what, did we run out of things to complain? I don't know. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, for me, because I love movies, and that movie, in essence, that was a really good movie. But if you think about that scene in itself, she controlled that whole room.
Yes.
All those guys were like on her every word. And she knew she had the power over them. That character, I'm thinking about character-wise, she knew she ran that room. And she knew what she could do to make the room even more flustered and get them off their game. And
She was owning her power. Yes. But that's what I'm saying is like, but now you have feminists in 2021 coming for her, right? Like, well, how could you do and it's just crazy to me. And a lot of it is younger people who maybe weren't necessarily around for that period of time to understand what that move really meant to women in any, because again, they're judging it off of 2021 standards. And it's like, it's just this whole thing about things not aging well, right? Like people talk about their tweets. Oh, that didn't age well. And that can be 6 months, for God's sakes. It's crazy. But it's just ironic to me. Like I said, the Grease thing, I was like, not only that, in Greece, they're portraying a high school from the 1950s. Let's be clear. America was very different in the 1950s.
Yeah. Did you see the makeup of that high school? Yeah.
That was and in real life, that probably would have been, there were probably actually more Black and brown people in the film than were actually in that high school in real life in the 1950s. Now, when the teacher came through and put a balloon between the two guys, remember the two guys from the T-Birds, they were dancing together, like goofing off. And they were like, when the teacher came and, said, no, if you're going to be dancing, it's got to be a boy and a girl. And they were like, oh, well, that's clearly, in the 1950s, there were gay men who were married with children,
What
being
country
homophobic,
they're
you could go to you could go to jail for being homophobic in the 1950s.
For being homophobic or being
I mean, for being
Homosexual.
homosexual. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Everybody was homophobic.
Yes, yes. Very good point. Yes. So thank you for that correction. But it's just do your history and you'll understand that, A, it's a film. B, it's emulating a time. C, that film was made 40 years ago. Take it for what it is.
But also you made a point a little while ago about that's what it was like then. But if you look at our culture now, even though these younger girls maybe they might be criticizing what Sharon Stone's doing, but if you look at a lot of these TikToks and stuff, you see these girls are doing the same exact thing that they were doing since the time of man. I mean, women have always used their beauty and their looks to get looks and also to get power. I mean, a lot of these girls are making money off the fact they can put these videos up that people are actually cluing into because they look so good in these videos.
You want my saying?
Well, no, that goes, but what? Just say
Same
it.
thing. People are just trying to, like you said, this cancel culture once again is where like, well, we're just going to have to change that. But no, that's still going on. Men and women are still doing the same thing they've been doing since the dawn of man.
They're human.
But the problem is that the same people yelling about things need to change are the same ones who wouldn't know what to do with themselves if they really did. Like, keep yelling from the mountaintop about how you don't want women to be objectified and things like that. And next thing you know, there'll be a law that says you can't objectify yourself on TikTok. And then a lot of paychecks will
dwindle.
You know what I'm saying? So that I think is part of the frustration of not having an honest conversation about what comes with that. Because as a woman and as a feminist, I want to see my women win. You know what I'm saying? I want pay equity. I know that that's obviously something that comes up often in Hollywood. No, I don't want people to feel like they have to do something sexually in order to advance in their career. You should never, ever feel that way. But on the flip side of it, I also know that as a woman, I have gotten interviews with people because of how I looked. I've never been told no. You know what I'm saying? And I know that that is, you know, largely in part to what I look like. And I have been able to use that to my advantage, right? Like if I walk in and I'm covering a celebrity basketball game and, you know, there's opportunities in the locker room, I've seen dudes sit there and not talk to one person, and I've been able to talk to absolutely everybody in there, you know? So it's kind of like, I don't want to say pick and choose your battles, but be realistic, because what you're asking for, again, Lenny, has consequences. So until you figured out how to win just with your brain, right? Like, or just with whatever other talents you have aside from your physical, like it's an asset. And we know that women who use their assets, our girl Sabina is in here right now and she's incredible, but I bet you Sabina would agree with me and that she has mastered the art of using what she has. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just another tool in the toolbox.
And listen, I am 100% for that. I want women to be empowered. I don't think women should, you know, and the women that fight for these positions of power in corporations and
it is a
things
fight.
like that. You know, I get it.
It's a fight.
A fight, but you know, it's goes to that one step harder. You know you're a woman. Okay? You clearly know you know what your womanly attributes will get you.
Yep.
Okay? So you also know the downfalls of it.
Yeah.
You got some creepy
For sure.
middle-aged manager at work and you're some little hottie trying to work your way up the ladder. That is an obstacle. That is an obstacle for you. You clearly know when you go into that environment that this is going to be difficult. Should it be easier? Yes. Should it not have to hinge on that? Yes. Is it ever not going to? No.
But this is when I say,
Because men are men and women are women.
It's that clear.
this is why we need to be teaching our young girls to man the fuck up. And by that, I just mean knowing how to handle yourself. I'm so grateful for the men in my life, whether they were, you know, big brother figures, my roommates in college who played football, who schooled me in the art of how to handle myself. You know, like, have I been close talked, you know, where, you know, somebody just gets all up in your face? And I'm sure it happens, Isaac, it happens to men too. So, I mean, but I've been taught how to handle myself and how to, you know, clearly draw the line in this end. I've never had somebody put their hands on me, you know, unsolicited. I've never.
That happens to me.
Well, I did it to you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm talking about, actually, I'll have complete strangers, girls, grab my butt in public. And they'll be like, oh my God, I just had to touch it. It was so nice. I'm like,
That's assault.
But if I did that,
it'd
I'm
be
being
assault.
dragged away.
Yes. Yes.
A girl does it, it's just cute and funny because he was a big guy and he can take it. What the heck?
See, but that is, you know,
I didn't want to cut your
no,
thing
that's
off,
part
but
and
that's
parcel
what
though.
happens, so.
But those are the conversation. Again, though, it's one of those things where we walk. I don't know. It's crazy when you say something like that because, legit, if the shoe was on the other foot, away you go.
Yes.
Cuffed, career over. And in this day and age, your career is over. You're a liability now. You're a liability to
But
a
no
studio.
one even knows who the heck I am, really. In some, I feel like, okay, some people recognize me, some people know who I am, but I'm not someone who's like a household name. I'm the guy that you see in the grocery store, like, you look familiar. Have I seen you in something before? I'm that guy. That's who I am.
Or you probably played football. Or you were an
yeah, a
athlete.
lot of
I'm
people
sure a lot
think,
of people assume you played a
People
sport.
think I play football. They think I'm in. I've had several people over the last few months just say, "Dang, aren't you supposed to be at practice right now?" Aren't you? I'm like, because we got 2 NFL teams in LA now, the Rams and the Chargers. I'm like, no, I'm an actor. You know?
You're like, nice win, coach. Cool, thanks.
But yeah. So yeah, I'm not a household name, which
But
I'm not in for the fame. I do if fame comes along with what I do, because I'm going to continue doing more and more films. And yeah, my name is going to rise, which is great. But I'm not in it for the fame. I'm in it for the love of the craft.
Yeah, you love what you're doing.
But I also love to get paid to do what I do also. I mean, I love it too. You know, I miss this job. So I want to continue making better money but I also just love putting these characters out there. That's what I love about it all.
Well, we have a belief here that if you do what you love,
Mm-hmm.
not that you don't ever feel like you're working, but life is so much better. When you find that thing that you would, quote unquote, do for free or that you love doing, work doesn't necessarily feel like work. I mean, obviously, it's like you said, it's a paycheck, but it's just your life is so much better.
It's so much fun. I mean, it is so much fun. Even the grueling long days when you're cold, and then they say, okay, that's a wrap. You're like,
trailer time.
now we can go and take this makeup off and get back in the real clothing, get back to the hotel or wherever you're going. You know?
Now,
And then be ready for tomorrow.
and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Now, Nestor, our director of photography, he just wears many hats. He's big in the NFT space right now.
Oh, really?
And he wanted us to discuss with you because, working with the likes of Disney and especially in that gaming world, like this is a huge opportunity for you, for those companies. I mean, how is that space working?
You know what? I'm just now learning about NFTs. I mean, I was just talking to some people. I was at an event for NFTs 2 weekends ago.
A whole event?
Yeah, because I had an event. It was like an after party they had for an event of people who were in NFT space, who were getting things going as far as that's concerned. And someone was talking to me about how I could even get one going for myself. And I'm going to talk to them in the future about that. Because part of me was like, don't get me wrong, I'm a humble guy, but part of me was like, who wants an NFT of Isaac Singleton Jr.? And they were like, we know some of the things you've done. People will want
Hello.
this. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, they're serious. I'm like, okay, well, let's talk further about it then. Because I'm like, I'm just Isaac C. Singleton Jr. I'm a working actor, living his life and having a good time. But no one's like, there's no producer out there in Disney or like the major corporations like, we need to get Isaac Singleton Jr. in here. We got a 3-picture deal waiting for him right now, but we can't get in touch with him. Where is he? No one's trying to make that phone call right this moment.
I was about to say, we're manifesting that for you. I was about to say,
let's do
Mr.
this.
Visions over
Be
here.
surprised. Phone's going to start ringing tomorrow.
Exactly. I feel like he's got that
Well,
gift.
I got some film ideas. I definitely do. So, yeah.
There you go. Well, no, I mean, it's definitely a huge space. It's just like the world just moves so quickly. I do want to ask you with your parents, considering what an incredible job they did, like, do they ever get excited about the things that you've done, or are you still just...
You know what? It's great because I remember when I went home to tell them, like I saw you flew back to Germany and said, Mom, Dad, I'm not going to be an actor. I'm not going to be a commodity broker anymore. I'm going to be an actor. And they were so supportive. They weren't like, what? An actor? They were like, okay, son, if that's what you want to do. My dad was a math major in college, so he's a very analytical guy. And I'm very analytical also. And he said, well, it's not going to be easy. You don't have any real connections out there in Hollywood. And you know the odds of making it out there. But if that's what you want to do, okay, then we'll support you on that. And so now my parents also know that I don't tell them anything. I don't tell them when I'm getting ready to do a project. I don't tell them about the project I'm getting ready to do because I learned very early on that whenever I'd get a project, I'd be so excited. Oh, guess what? I got this role and this and that. And then all of a sudden, they lost their funding and the role didn't happen. And then like friends and people are like, oh, so what happened to that movie you were going to do? I'm like, so I learned very beginning, don't tell anybody what you're doing until it's done.
Okay.
So I don't really tell them about it. But I know my parents are, they're very happy for the things I've done and they're proud of what I've done because like, also in the beginning of my career, I was making a living at it, but my parents, their friends like, so how's that acting working out for Isaac? And they're like, well, he's not calling us for money, so I guess it's working out pretty good then.
That's every parent, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the
They're
threshold.
self-sufficient. We're good.
That's the threshold.
But I guess my dad, I've seen the beam in their eyes, especially my dad. Like I remember we went shopping a few years ago. We were in Vegas, and I'm Isaac. I'm just walking around. But I remember I was in a store, and my dad and I were in the store. And this guy goes, "Oh my God, you were in this movie! I love that movie!" And I'm like, "Oh well, thank you very much." And I could just see the smile on my dad's face. It's like, yeah.
That's got to feel incredible. That's incredible.
Nothing better than that feeling.
Now, I want 2 questions for you because Lenny, you're a parent of 3. Isaac, you don't have kids yet, but I feel like you have a pretty good idea if you were raising them how you would like to do that. Did you hear that? He was like, yes. So what is something that you wish, I guess each of you can answer this, that more parents would instill in their kids today that you were brought up with, as far as values and life?
You want to start?
You can start since you already have kids.
I respect above and beyond for anyone until they, make you not
respect
them. A little bit of fear, I think, is important. I think, and that goes along with learning the respect. Consequences. Really, consequences are, very important to kids today, and they don't have enough of them.
Got you. So respect, fear, and that there are consequences to your actions.
Yeah, and when I say fear, I don't mean scary fear. I mean fear that
It's not
that
a
there's
utopian
consequences.
world.
Yeah.
Like as a young woman, keeping your head on a swivel, because unfortunately you can do everything right and still end up
Or a young man in today's day and age,
Yep, that's a whole different set of consequences. But
or a cat,
your child's identifying as a cat. Let's make sure that we are all inclusive
I'm just
here on the
saying.
ManTFup Podcast, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so now how about you, Isaac?
I would, man, there's some different things I would say. I would definitely instill, because I believe in God. I would still, I'm a Christ believer. I would believe in that.
But when he talks to you like he talks to you, we believe in too.
But and a lot of the things that are taught in that are really good for society, Some people have perverted some things, but the basics of what Christ was talking about were really great tenets to live by, and I would want to raise them as Christians for sure. Definitely would want them to treat their fellow man with respect and dignity. And it's almost like what he just said, because like I always go into a situation where I'm going to respect everybody until you show me reasons why I should not. And then I tell people there's two different Isaacs you can get. You can get the Isaac who's really friendly and nice, and you can get the Isaac who's really going to go over the top for you and really do the things that you deserve to get, because you are more than just someone I just casually know. And so there's certain people that I've gotten that I've met, and I know that, okay, I see what kind of human being you are. You would just get the me being nice to you, friendly guy.
I knew it. There's no mean Isaac.
Oh, there's an Isaac that will definitely have disdain and disrespect for you. I'm just not going to associate with you. If you're working with me or whatever, I will be nice. I'll be cordial. I'll be professional.
Gotcha.
But you're not going to be getting the good stuff everybody else gets, because you don't deserve it.
Got you.
Yeah, that's how I.
So discernment too, that not everybody deserves.
Oh yeah.
All of you.
No. That's what I say to women that I date also. Because they're like, I had one girlfriend, she was complaining because I was treating everybody friendly and nice. I'm like, well, I treat everybody with respect and dignity, but you get better than that, because you get all of me. They're just getting the nice guy. You're getting everything else. So don't.
Hold on. She was upset that you were nice to people?
Yes. She was like, why are you talking to so many people? You don't even know them. They said hello. I mean, what was I supposed to do? Just like turn my head. She's not around anymore. So,
okay. I was gonna.
But I've had some crazy situations. Like I remember I had a girlfriend years ago. She was like,
the face says it all.
she's like, nobody can be this nice all the time. You treat me too well. You're doing something sneaky behind my back. I know it. So I said, so we're actually having an argument because I'm treating you very well, and that you think because I'm treating you well like this, I'm obviously doing something behind your back because I'm trying to stay in your good graces all the time. Is that what we're arguing about? But come to find out, in her household, whenever her father had cheated on her mother or whatever, he was always extra really nice to her for a while because he knew that he'd been caught and he'd been doing something wrong. Or I'm just the kind of guy that's going to treat you great. That's who I'm going to be to you.
Lord.
Hey, I like you enough to be kissing you and stuff, so why not treat you well? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but that's her own.
She was Erica Baduing you. She was
I-
the bag lady. She came in with all the bags, the baggage.
Yeah, everybody's.
Hey,
got
next
some
time you
kind
get in that situation, Isaac, say, "Here's my phone. Here's my password. Feel free."
Yeah.
You'll shut her down. You'll shut her down.
I could have a burner phone.
Yeah.
Lord. Now somebody's going to point. Damn it, turn it off now. Turn it off, honey.
I
Right
told
now.
you we're just men.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
So yeah, there's nothing going on like that. But I mean, if I have to give her my phone, then it's over. Because I mean, she doesn't trust me enough, and it's just that, Because I'm a trustworthy guy.
Yeah, I've got this whole thing going. I told Isaac I want to run for president, but I got this whole thing
I was
going.
wondering if you mentioned that too.
That I've been explaining to Kimmy, and women expect so much from men, and there's kind of a dichotomy there because we're only men, and they think of it that way. They're well,
Isaac's not helping your "we're only men" cause.
I'm telling you, he is.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
because Isaac is clearly cut from a bit of a different cloth. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the guy who has two sides. One is just everyday nice, and the other is like stupid, next worldly Jesus nice. You understand?
I feel you, but
I said these things, but also there is a
I don't
side
believe
of
it.
there's a side of Isaac that doesn't come out that is there.
But you probably know how to avoid putting yourself in situations that are going to draw him out.
Well, that's what I do, because I know that I know how I feel. I know I look, and I know what kind of power I have. I know what I can do physically to a human being's body. I know what I can do. Now, I also know about the laws in our country. I know about the law system. I know about how some people are litigious in this country. And like I said, there's plenty of people out there whose faces need to be punched in. They really do. But I know that if I punch the face in, I'm going to suffer certain consequences because of this.
Yes.
And it's not going to also help because I look like this gigantic black guy, So it's not going to help me in the court system.
Unfortunately, you fit the description.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He was big and black, right? Like, in America.
I've had,
usually
we can go into the different things that have happened to me as far as police is concerned. Never been in trouble with police, but pulled over several times for no reason. Pulled out of my car for no reason. But, they're the ones scared of me. I'm like, if you're scared of me, then don't pull me over. That's
the truth.
But that's something totally different. That could be the part of the country or the world that we live in that will make Isaac the bitter Isaac. But I can rise above that. But that happens to me. But I don't let it spoil my day. I don't let it spoil my existence. I don't walk around with a chip on my shoulder. I could. I deserve to in many ways, but I don't.
You really should honestly have children. And I say that because that's a great quality to instill in children. The fact that you have these experiences, right? And you can express them, but also there's ways to handle them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what to do with that. Obviously, you're an extremely intelligent, very, worldly individual. You've traveled. Your parents live in Germany, for God's sake. So you've seen things, and how things work. But I think that's just such an invaluable gift if you can sit down and actually have conversations with young people about personal experiences and how to either rise up and then put yourself in a better position to do something to make real change. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to reacting and then you're no longer afforded the platform or the opportunity.
Well, I've always been in many ways, I'm almost like Leonard Nimoy's Spock. I'm very logical in a lot of my thought, and a lot of times, some people would even consider me even unemotional in certain situations because I'm thinking about the consequences of my actions. Well, a lot of people don't think about those consequences.
No.
They live on instinct, and they do what they want to do. Like, it's funny, last night I say it last night, and this guy was being held back by his friends. He was kind of drunk, and he wanted to go beat up on this other guy. I don't know what happened, but he was causing a big row in the hallway outside of the bar that was where I was. And people just kind of stand there and look at him like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? His friends are holding him back. He's yelling. And the guy he's yelling at just kind of standing there with a grin on his face too, like, what's wrong with you? And this guy, he was drunk, but he also wanted to fight. And I'm like, why do you want to fight? Just say what you got to say and move on. Fighting somebody's not going to really solve anything. Might put you in jail.
Yeah.
Might cause you to get yourself beat up too.
Yeah.
You never
or
know
a
what might happen.
lawsuit, or God only knows. Like, that's the truly frightening.
I've seen situations where people went off trying to fight somebody, got knocked out, I'm serious.
Well, state of Florida's a little crazy on that because we have
stand
your ground laws, which
if somebody's the aggressor and
if somebody puts their hand on you, you could shoot them dead where they stand.
See, I don't even have a gun around. I'm not walking around with a gun.
No, I get it, but
and
this
you
is South
probably have
Florida.
more
And a lot of
training
people do.
than many of the people who do.
Yeah,
I have shot a lot of guns.
I was gonna say.
It's fun.
yeah.
Well, I guess if you get to do it for work, and then I saw and I started looking, and when you were talking about what your physical body can do, I do want to ask because you've been in all of these action movies. Have you you have training then, like you have combat training and martial
I've trained in martial arts before. I've trained in all kinds of stuff. I'm going to train again when I get back to LA because the gym's going to reopen up again, so I'm going to start training again. So
what do you train martial arts?
Now I'm going to start doing Krav Maga.
Okay.
Because that's not about katas and stuff like that. It's about get in, to do the damage you need to do, and get out.
That's it.
I was gonna say, is any of that more difficult for you because of how big you are? Like some of those martial arts, they're small. You know what I mean? They're just these really lithe, kind of small.
I started Taekwondo when I was in college.
Okay.
Then I did kickboxing when I got to LA. But the kickboxing also, they were teaching us ground fighting and stuff like that.
Not Billy Blanks. You were doing real kickboxing.
Yeah, I did.
You were doing Taibo?
I did go to a Taibo class one time though because I had an audition for ER.
Okay.
They wanted a Taibo instructor to come in with their class with a student.
Got you.
And the student had gotten hurt in class, and I was supposed to be the instructor, be like, he was in the wrong way, and someone kicked him in the face, and all. Anyway.
So you're a method actor. You did it like you.
I'm not a method actor. I'm an actor because method actors actually have to become the character.
Oh.
They live the character. Sometimes they'll if you're playing a bum, they'll not bathe for a few days and live out in the street just because they want to feel like they're a method actor. They want to feel what it's like to be a bum. I'm like, why don't you just get on set and act like a bum?
So you were just doing research, though.
I just researched,
okay.
Yeah. So I went and sure enough, Billy Blanks eventually did the role. So I was like, okay, so that's. But I did go to a couple of Taibo classes just to see what it was like, and that was one heck of a workout. I'll tell you that much. That was one heck of a workout. And his stepdaughter was teaching the class when I was there. She was like a thin, brunette, cute, wiry. I was like, how the heck? And one of the bigger guys that were, he was like, okay, now when she's teaching class, I tell you what, you can kind of rest. And when you he's like, because she is wiry and she's really full of energies. But the bigger guy, who was like my size, like, yo, I work here, man. I'll tell you how to, this is when she's doing it. This is what you do. Those moves.
To give yourself a little.
That's way you don't have to just be trying to kick doing all this kind of stuff. But when you said that about being a small, wiry person trying to attack you, whatever.
Yeah.
One of my favorite kicks. And being this tall is my front kick. It's so fun because it's that's better than jack, but it sticks out far. And if you fling that thing out,
a lot of power in those legs too, bro.
You fling somebody because most guys are probably about between 5'6" to 5'9".
Well, like what he said, they're tiny.
So I mean, that's perfect height for me to just flip that thing right out in your face, kick you out in the chest or in the face with that. Yeah, it's great. You just kick that right out there.
Do you get to do that? What is that called? When you go in front of the green screen and you put on, when you're doing the video games as a character?
It's called motion capture. Yeah, I've done mocap before, too. But when I'm doing the video games, most of the video games I'm doing is I'm actually doing the voices.
Yep.
But I've done mocap for a game called Halo 4. Mm-hmm. I've been in a couple of Halos now, but I did Halo 4 as a character named Carlos Hoya.
Halo?
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer, but even I know that one.
And I did mocap for some other games. I mean, I've done it. Like I said, I go and do the work. I don't really play them very often. I mean, I enjoy them, and I like going to Dave & Buster's. Those are kind of video games I like to play, but I like to play them. But I mean, have voice, will travel. Have acting skills, will travel.
I love it. Well, it's been such an incredible conversation. I know you don't swear, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, when you see ManTFup or when somebody says, yo, you need to man up, what does that mean to you? What does manning up mean to Isaac C. Singleton Jr.?
To me, because I've heard the term several times, it means seriously, come on, get your head together. You know right from wrong. Do the right thing. And come on, stop whining.
Stop whining. Are you good with that?
Stop whining.
We can put that on a shirt, too.
I'm clearly good with that, Kimmy. You know it.
Well, like I said, it's been an incredible conversation. I know this was a big day for you. Is there anything that we didn't touch on?
I am super happy.
You don't want any gaming nerdy
kinda,
superhero things that you want to ask?
I wanted to ask him the question about the if he's kind of that guy. I mean, you go to all the Marvel movies and stuff like that. Do you?
Oh yes. As a matter of fact, I remember I went. Oh yeah, I love Marvel, man. They're great. I mean,
Yell at him too. If you're gonna yell at me for hitting my microphone,
that wasn't
He
my
can't
hand.
help it.
That was
facts.
We already set it back 3 feet.
Didn't want to
But yeah, I can remember because like when you go see a Marvel movie, it's an experience for me because I like watching the credits of the movie anyway. And if you don't, and then you leave at the end when the credit starts rolling, you've missed some of the movie.
Hello.
And I remember when I was in Salt Lake City. I was there to do a movie one time, and I went to see one of the Marvel films. And there was a guy. He was all dressed up like Captain America. He had a Captain
the whole
America
suit
on there
suit
like
on.
that. Anyway, the movie's ending, and he and his buddies are leaving. And I don't know, this guy was probably in his mid-40s. You know, he's got the 40s body. But anyway, he's walking down.
What did he say? Why'd you look at me when you said that?
I just looked around the room. I'm sorry.
Hashtag 40s body. That's what I'm gonna start using that on photos.
But
You know.
But I could tell he was a big fan. Mm-hmm. And he starts leaving, and I say, "Hey, man, you might not want to leave. The movie's not over yet." Mm-hmm. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, the movie's not done." So he and his buddy stood off to the side. The credits rolled a little bit longer, and he was like, all of a sudden, another little cookie came a little bit further, and that was funny. And then wait till the end, and another at the end of the credits came up, and that final little part that came up. I mean, either foreshadowing what the next movie was going to be about or just giving you something else. Mm-hmm. He was like, "Man, thanks a lot for telling me that." I'm like, "Yeah, you can't leave during a Marvel movie, man. You can't leave."
Nope.
Whoever came up with that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Whoever, and I don't know if it was Stan or, I'm thinking he was more of a producer.
Well, I wonder if it was somebody who loved outtakes. And I say that because you remember like in Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, like the outtakes at the end of the film are the best part. Like, and I love that movie, but are the best part. Like I would rewind the outtakes, but I feel like that was something that you got in a lot of comedy films. You'd get the outtakes at the end. And it's kind of like if you have this great stuff, but I know with Marvel it's a little bit different because they actually give you the precursor to the next
They
one.
did that on Smokey and the Bandit. They did that on...
Did they?
Oh,
One of my favorites of all times is when they did at the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes.
Because you're watching as Prince Rooney is just, his day is just, he's all limping, the bus picks him up, his pants are ripped and everything, So you're watching the credits, but you're watching what's happening to Rooney. He sits down. The girl's like, "Gummy bear?" She gives him a gummy bear. It's been in my pocket all day. It's nice and warm. He flicks the gummy bear away. And then the credits roll and it stops and it's dark. Then all of a sudden, the light comes back up and it's Ferris back at home in his robe. And he's like, "You're still here? Mm-hmm. It's over. Go home. Go on." And then
Such
Yellow saying, "Yeah." But anyway,
That's such a
I think
classic
one of the
movie.
things, one of my favorite things is like I said, I do the voice of Thanos for Marvel, and they called my agent looking for a certain actor, and my agent said, "Okay, we'll send this stuff over, but you ought to listen to this guy we have. You might like him better." And so, sure enough, they sent over a tape, and they called back and said, "Bring him, send him over instead." So. I think Thanos is one of my favorite characters just because, I worked hard at just making that character the way it is. But it's just so fun to play a character like that because the bad guy gets to say such good stuff, The good guys can't say it. But
well, and in real life, you wouldn't say it.
I don't know.
I guess it would depend
That's just, it's so
on the
cool
line
to
you
think about
cross.
it. Yes, very good point, Lenny, because he says he does have, I can't actually envision that side of you right now, and I don't think I ever really want to
Well,
be
there
quite
was
honest.
one when he's attacking Earth, I believe it was, and he's just talking. He's like just so nonchalant. He's like, "You Earthlings annoy me, but your sounds of screams and fear do amuse me. You may continue those." And it's just like saying something like that. I'm like, "People of Earth, the shadow of Thanos darkens your world. Submit to my will or perish." You just can't say that as an Avenger. You're like,
Yeah, no.
You should get up at the end of a movie one day and just do that, like in a theater that That would be absolutely magical.
I would love to film that in a
Right?
restaurant, anywhere in public where there's a lot of people. You just get up and project that across the
Oh
room.
my goodness, no. You know
People
what?
would dive under tables.
Somebody needs to give him like the PA system at like a sporting event or like at the airport one day. Just have you up in the box and just let you come over.
Hey Val,
That'd be
talk
great.
to Floyd about getting him on the
Like-
Super Bowl doing that.
Yes. Oh my God, at halftime. You could totally be that guy too, like the guy that introduces like these big
People
shows.
of Earth.
Somebody tells me that guy made a lot of money. The guy that used to do all the movie trailers.
Oh yeah, he's not alive anymore.
Yeah, he passed.
His name was Don LaFontaine. He always set it up where he's like, in a world,
Yes. Yep.
in a land where Isaac Singleton Jr. walked into the room
But nobody's
and
replaced
had
him.
his buttocks grabbed by some random woman.
God, you know what? This is spiraling quickly. If that job is up for grabs and anyone from Hollywood is watching the ManTFup podcast right now, Isaac C. Singleton Jr. should definitely have it.
Yeah, if you notice, trailers now don't have that.
At all.
It's mainly just clips of the movie, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
rated PG-13
Yep.
starts Friday.
No more like he made it. He was like the movie, like trailers sold movies. Like that was why you went to go see it. It was the movie trailer guy.
And that was all. That all happened by mistake.
What?
He worked as an advertising guy, and the person they had hired to come in to do the voiceover didn't show up. So he said, "Here, I'll just put my voice on it real quick. We'll send it over, and then we'll hire another voiceover later." And then the people were like, "Oh, we'd like to just keep his voice on there." There you go.
You know what he did? He
started.
manned the fuck up. He was given an opportunity, and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna do this." And who knew it would change his life?
Okay, shoot, yes.
Well, it changed the movie industry too. Like, let's be clear.
Yeah, he did a great job.
You did a great job.
Oh, is it over?
I mean, it doesn't have to be. I just feel bad. I feel like, your PR person's here with us. She's going to be like, eventually, like, wrap it up. You guys are just talking. Is there anything left? Len? Are you good?
I'm pretty good. Well, I still have that whole I'm just a man thing. I never got the.
Well,
never
let's
got
hear
the-
about this just
So-
man thing.
But, women in general expect men to be on their level at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're disappointed if you're not on their level. But they clearly put themselves up here and expect you to get up here. And we're clearly men. So it's like, you follow where I'm going with this?
I know.
It's
See, like when you say something like that, I think of it almost like, have you ever seen one of those chess boards that's in Star Trek where it's like several different levels of the chessboard?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a game of chess where there's different levels you play it at. And I think that there's many times when we're up here, the women are down here, but then next time they're on this step over here, and we're over this step over here. So I think we're all playing in the same universe. It's just that we're not always on the same exact level at the same exact time all the time.
Yeah, this is my checkmate move, though.
No, but it's
because
not. It's an excuse, Lenny. It's
Because-
really just a big fat excuse.
because if the tire needs to be changed, they're clearly calling us. If this and the whole equality thing, it's just my clear point is we're never going to be on the same page because we are just men and you're women, and it's never that thing is never gonna be
your
equal.
out. It's just, once again, it's your out. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can ride this train until the wheels fall off if you'd like to, Lenny. It's just a big.
Your favorite out is if a dude just says yeah it was me
Well,
or
yeah,
comes
because-
clean, you're done, your argument's over.
That's very specific. That's if you're fighting. I'm a firm believer. Like, if you really want to get your girl to just stop dead in her tracks, just agree and apologize. Because she's not usually prepared for that. You know what I mean? Like, she's ready to go to war with you. And if you just stop down and say, "I'm sorry, you're right," what is there left to say?
Oh,
But
I've
then-
had some women that they always have something to say.
But then she just wants to fight. That's different. And now you
know.
have a whole argument of your own. Because literally, you can look at her and go, "See, all you really want to do is fight because I've apologized and said that, like, you're right." This conversation is over. So at that point, now you've put her on the defensive. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you actually call her on that. So that is I'm a firm believer in that. Like, I don't really know what to say because when we confront you, we usually expect a lie. We usually expect a runaround. We expect an excuse like, "I'm just a man." Like, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're ready for that. We're ready. We got our gloves. Like, we're like, what? Bring it. But when you say, "You're right, I'm sorry," You just deflated my whole argument tire. I'm very upset about that. I was ready.
I grew up on the have no expectations and be pleasantly surprised. And that's I think that's important. I think people have too many expectations and expect too much from their significant other or whatever the case may be. You expect things from people that you clearly, some of them can't accommodate because they just don't know.
Well, I told you there's a saying that says just because somebody doesn't love you the way you want them to doesn't mean they don't love you with everything they have. And that, when I actually processed it, I was like, oh my God, that's so true. Because oftentimes you're in a relationship and maybe it's somebody who witnessed things when they were a young person. You know what I mean? We learn love from what we see oftentimes. And then we also learn our fears about love from what we grow up seeing oftentimes. You know, so if you can put that in perspective, and then it's on you to decide, okay, is that love? I don't want to say enough. I hate that word because I've been called on that word because men can get very sensitive about enough and being not enough. But you have to decide if the way that they are capable of loving you is going to work for you in the long term. And if not, you can't fault them for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't ask, what is that about bleeding or, getting water out
Blood from a stone?
Blood from a stone. You can't get blood from a stone. So you have to do some soul searching. And unfortunately, women are also women,
Now, the 5 languages of love.
It's easier
you gotta understand, and not everybody has the 5 or uses the 5. But it's touch, it's senses, but it's all everybody loves in their own way.
You don't like that? You don't like the 5 love languages?
Oh, no.
I just think it's there it is. That's the best use of that button in the history of the ManTFup Podcast. I just feel like everybody gets caught up on whatever new thing they're hawking.
Excuses.
Right? And right now, it's the 5 love languages. And it's really, when it boils down to it, it's communication. Whether it's in a relationship, whether it's with your children, whether it's with coworkers, whether it's with people on the other side of the aisle, whatever the case may be, learning actual proper communication and being willing to sit down and truly listen and hear, because they're 2 different things.
Oh, definitely.
Right? They're 2 completely different things. And being able to do both of those things when dialoguing with somebody are very important.
That's the toughest thing. I mean, first off, understanding that we're 2 different genders.
Yes, and you're only a man.
2 different people. No, just
Isaac blew your whole theory out of the water,
he didn't
bro.
blow it out of the water.
I'm sorry, Isaac. He's making you look bad.
Isaac's good. That's okay.
He's making this argument.
Come on,
a little
nobody
moot.
can make me look bad. I do great on my own, so I don't need any help. But you have a man and a woman or 2 different people. There's so many variables that go into their character and into their. And then if you add in the different sexes on top of that, I mean, there's a reason that female on female couples are the most monogamous and male on male couples are the least monogamous.
That's factual, though.
So that's a fact. So now you're taking a little bit of the most monogamous and a little of the least, and you're trying to put it together. So that's a clear mismatch.
Well, I don't want to say it's ironic, but how long have your parents been married?
Now it's 57 years.
That's wild.
57 years, 1 woman. No, I'm just kidding.
It's also the voice.
Your dad's gonna be like
the doomsday voice. He delivered it with 2. But no, but you're
People of
But you're not married.
No, I'm still looking for my life partner, lady.
But is that because of what you saw with them that you're just
I
more
saw how to
selective?
treat a woman. I saw how to make a relationship work. And I mean, I've had some great love in my life, to be honest with you. Every time it was always circumstances beyond our control, which, you can't help that. And then, I've met wonderful ladies and since, but, there's just sometimes, there's just things aren't going to work out. We've got philosophical differences about life and what you want to do with it. And, sometimes their career is more important than finding a life partner themselves. It's all these different variables that happen in a 2 people relationship. When you got 2 brains and they're not melding as one, then things aren't going to work out. So that's that.
Yeah, and people grow up. So, if you don't grow up on the same path, as your significant other, you're going to grow away. And unfortunately,
Growing
it
together
happens a
versus growing
lot.
apart. Yeah.
And it's funny because you said that, because I've talked to a few ladies who were with these guys who they thought they had long term with, but these women kept going. These guys stopped. They're like, I like it right here. Me, my buddies from college, and okay, now I've got a job, and that's all I got to do. They didn't want to go further about, hey, let's build something else together. Let's go for some other goals. Let's try to find some other streams of income. Let's go travel. Let's get some hobbies that we're going to do together. She won't do all that. He's like, but I got my buddies from college. I don't need to do anything else. I got you. Like, she's like, well, I got to go. I got more. There's more I need now than that. And there's some people that just get stuck where they are. But women are like that too. There's some women who's stuck where they are, and the guy wants to keep going, and maybe out of fear or whatever, she doesn't want to go further than that. So just things happen in minds and hearts.
It is sad, though, because you hear about a 57-year relationship. You know what I mean? I know your wife's parents have been together.
Yeah, probably.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those
Upper
things
40s.
where,
But my wife's parents were divorced for 7 years and got back.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, see, this is why you never say never. You just gave people in toxic relationships hope everywhere. See, we can work things out. We can.
Like I said, people grow apart. Things change in your life. You have different goals. You have different outlooks. You get older. There's a lot of variables, and that unicorn of a relationship. Now, I've been married 27 years, by the way.
Okay.
But that unicorn of a relationship means that one of those people or both of them stayed like this. They both worked at it.
Yes.
And they both worked to stay in that same place. And we're conscious of where the other one was going. And that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And the minute you lose touch with your partner, it makes it very difficult to get back because you automatically go this way.
But I think it goes back to oftentimes what we see in, I hate to say Hollywood movies, but you have this idea that, love just kind of works out. But to your point, it's, or even in an action movie, having no idea about the 18-hour days and the crazy, environments that you're shooting in and the discomfort. It's like, it's a true testament to just what life is. It's hard work. Even what we love is hard work. And there are days when it feels like it's going to kill you, or it's, all consuming, whatever the case may be, but it's work. Like, you have to work at having a healthy, happy relationship the same way you have to work at having a successful career, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit don't come easy, people. Man, the fuck up.
And understand, he's only a man.
He's going to his grave on that one, Isaac. That's what we're going to put on Lenny's tombstone. He was only a man. I'm so done. Listen.
That's the checkmate, Isaac.
Okay.
That's the checkmate, I'm telling you.
If you ever...
So no Billy Joel. He's always a woman to me.
Please don't ever use that. And I think you're better than that. I think you're better than that excuse.
So
You'll come up with something else, I'm sure. But please, if I ever find out or run into somebody you dated and they're like, yeah, and then he hit me with, I'm only a man.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna be like, I'm so disappointed.
That's not coming out of me.
I love it. Isaac C. Singleton Jr., thank you so much for joining the ManTFup podcast. It has been an absolute joy and pleasure to have you here.
Where do you think you're going? This isn't over. No, it was a pleasure.
I was about to say, now that could be a little intimidating. I'm just saying.
People of ManTFup TV.
I have now
That
taken
should be the actual intro.
We shall be here for weeks to come. Bring the food. I'm hungry.
Don't forget, subscribe, like, follow. Make sure you listen to us absolutely everywhere you can listen to a podcast. Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, Buzzsprout. You can go to our YouTube channel and subscribe at, what is it, ManTFup TV. It's at ManTFup TV. And as Lenny likes to say, if you'd like to reach out, you got comments, you hate what we talked about, you love what we talked about, you have some topics for us to discuss, let them know how they can email us, Lenny.
You can email KimmyB to ManTFupTV.com. Again, that's KimmyB to ManTFupTV.com.
Oh my goodness. Love to make sure that I get all the hate mail, I get all the complaints, I get all the FCC. I'm just kidding.
There's no hate mail coming.
None.
I can imagine.
None.
You apparently didn't listen to our podcast.
And is there? Oh,
This was a great one.
yes.
Well, thanks. I was happy to be invited. I really was. I had a great time.
Good. Is there anything that we can be looking out for from you coming up in the future? New games dropping? Can we be listening for you and anything?
Well, it's so funny because now almost everything I do has got a non-disclosure agreement on it.
Oh,
so
my
now
God.
I can't even tell about it because everybody wants to know about everything so much that we can't tell you.
It gets out too fast. You
Yeah.
know,
So
used to
it's
be
like-
able, you tell your friend and they'd tell somebody it'd take like a month to get out.
Well, listen.
Now it's out in 30 seconds.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, people love the internet, and there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of fans out there who just like
Facts.
throw it out there. Oh, we know how it's
Yeah.
going to end. You know
Oh.
everything. You know, so they don't want to say.
It's also
anything
different
about
when
it.
you work in. That's true though. Like they've been the poor Spider-Man movie. My God, how many spoilers have we had for the new? Like it's been absolutely crazy. So I get it, especially with the kind of projects that you're involved in. But
There was a movie. Oh, sorry.
no, you go.
There's been some films I've been on where they actually had to fire crew and stuff because they were taking pictures of costumes and stuff like that because they said in the beginning, no, don't take pictures of costumes. Don't put no social media, nothing.
What can I
But
tell
people
you?
were doing stuff, you know, and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, we asked you not to do this. We're trying to keep this on the down low so that at least when we release it, nobody knows every single thing and we'll be able to make the revenue that we're supposed to make whenever people are going to go see the movie.
Yep.
You know how much of a relief that would be to actually go to a set where they said no social media, like no
There's a
cell
lot of
phones
places
allowed.
that are actually
That'd be
like that.
so incredible. Like what a great excuse. Sorry, I didn't have my phone on me. It's against my contract. Like it's written in my NDA. Like oh, that would be so nice.
And there's something that gets released now that I'm part of, and they're like, now that it's completely done, now we can slowly let you start talking about it on the web or whatever.
The social
Yeah,
sphere.
but, you know, but it's for certain characters can't say anything still. So yeah,
Well, he did say when he goes back to LA, he's going to be back in the gym. So, doing Krav
wait.
Maga, which means something's got to be on the horizon. So,
you know, part of that's just for my own know-how and just to have fun.
listen, I'm trying to tease the people.
Oh, okay.
Trying to tease the people.
Hate people.
Isaac C. Singleton Jr., do you have social media at all?
Yes, if you go to, I'm on Instagram and it's Isaac ISAAC, then Singleton SINGLETON Jr.
Oh, nice and easy.
It'll be the one with the blue check next to it because I'm verified.
The little flex. It's the only flex we've gotten out of this guy. I love it. Well, again, it's been an honor to have the verified Isaac C. Singleton Jr. with us. The ManTFup Podcast. Lenny, you done good. Val, you're incredible. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I've
for
been
this.
waiting for this one.
I know.
Yeah,
Thank you
I'm
very
very. I think it was fantastic, and I think we touched on what we needed to.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
So we can get the hell out of here?
We're out.
All right.
I think me and Isaac are going to go get some dinner. You're
Not
more than
mad
welcome to
at that
come.
at all. ManTFup TV, everybody. Check it out.